today's the day the clocks go forward, which is great because that means, the evenings will be longer, which is lovely. Not longer, you know what I mean, not longer in terms of hours, we're not suddenly going to gain an extra hour. It's just going to be sunnier, longer. You know how it works. Give me a break, I'm not very well. God, that's a great way to kick off, isn't it? Thanks for that. Anyway, suddenly we're nearly in April. I mean, it was only in freezing February, and now we're in freezing April, and March just flew by, didn't it? Didn't it just flew by and flew by? That's extraordinary, and I guess that's just the way. I mean, if you thought it didn't fly by, you're probably young, in which case I would say, what on earth are you doing watching this? You should be out and about, shouldn't you, with your posse and with your baseball caps on back to front and sniffing glue and frightening old people. Go away. Anyway, before March goes, thought I'd put one of these down. February 1st, Josie Lawrence came and visited in February. I haven't seen Josie in quite a while, and I'd hoped that she lost the address, but she must have remembered it because she was here and it was great. We spent a long time talking together. Because I've known Josie for far too long in many ways, and she did her first improvisation with Steve and I at the Dunmore White House, because it's her confusion, not mine. It was never my confusion over where we met. She came up to me at the bar at Jongleurs Comedy Club in Battersea, which is where she was with a singing group called Denise Black and the Crazy Sisters, and she came up and said she'd like to do improv if we were ever doing improv. Yeah, I say improv. Now that's interesting because, well, I think it's interesting because I learned about improvisation through Keith Johnston's book called Improv. Keith Johnston came via the Royal Court, and in fact I saw the original theatre machine, the only theatre machine working at Oval House, and I had the same response to watching them as I think anybody has watching improv for the first time, when you just go, that's not possible. They must have written that. And they didn't play the games. The games we always used were just something that you did a lot in order to learn how to perform improv. And so, anyway, the other thing I remember is that at this time it was kind of all very long hair and faded denims. And yet Theatre Machine really looked like a bunch of, comprehensive school English teachers, really. They were very straight looking. And it was John Muirhead and Rick Morgan and Ben Bernison and the universal force that's Roddy Maud Roxby, who's just wonderful. And Keith wrote this book about it called Impro, not Improv. So I call it Impro. You can call it Improv if you want, and you're wrong. So Josie came over, we talked a lot and laughed a lot, because she does loads of things, she acts with, she acted at the Royal Shakespeare Company, the Royal National Theatre. Anywhere that's royal, you just call your house the Royal, house. She'll come and, knock off a quick Ophelia for you, which, it sounds rather unpleasant actually, doesn't it? So let's just carry on. So she came over, and she can do all those things, and she sings. She's got a little cabaret thing going at the moment with Steve Edis, which is fabulous. But she's just one of the best improvisers that I've ever worked with in my life. She's great. But enough of her, more about me. And then, also beginning of the month, so social worker came around with district nurse and someone else, and it was to talk about me going into, actually that's interesting, because I don't know who this someone else was. There might have just been a crippled pervert, the person who just likes to be in that same room and look at people in wheelchairs. Jeez, I've really got to work on security around here. But it was to see about me going into respite care, which means that I'd go away somewhere for a week or so that I get a break, but also everybody in the house would get a break. Because if you think about it, 4 times a day, 2 people 4 times a day, 365 Daisy had come clod-hopping through the house. Don't ask me to explain what clod-hopping is, or what's even more interesting to me is why on earth I would use it in that sentence. But they come in and, they're the carers that do everything for me. So it'd be good to have a break all round, but there was a slight inkling of niggling in my head, which was kind of, yeah, but, one was that it's going to be this group, we're going to sit around going, oh, you have MS, and what's your symptoms? Oh, just the leg spasm, yeah, no, been through that. I've got a suprapubic catheter, yeah, but I have it changed every 8 weeks, so every 4 weeks, well, you're trying, that's good. Sorry, and you have colostomy bag, wow, you're really way ahead of the group, that's pretty impressive, everyone, isn't it? I said, that's impressive, isn't it? You're finding it difficult to be, you can't really speak, and you can't get out of bed. Well, just nod your head, and you can't even nod your head. There you go. I think the gauntlet's really been thrown down. Let's all clap our hands. I won't be joining in, obviously. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to go through that. And the other thing is that it's a picture like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and I supposedly would have to be McMurphy. And that's not going to work because I know absolutely nothing about the rules of basketball. A. B, if I can't show them how to throw the ball into the net because I can't move my arms out. And also, as to running up and down the side, telling them what to do, well, the game is going to have to be held at a steady pace of 6 miles per hour. And also to give me time to turn around and come back, because top speed on this little, mobile wheelchair is, I can get this baby up to 6 miles per hour, but that's if I really floor it, and that's not easy to do. Flooring it is, I don't floor it actually, it's all done with my hand. Leave it. Okay, so there's that, and the other fear is that, it's going to be like, once we've compared symptoms and done all that, I might be confronted, by talking to some, evangelical, Christian, misogynistic, homophobic, racist, right-wing asylum seekers should be used for heating purposes for the poor fascistic bastard, and I don't know if the care home would be enough room for 2 of us. So we'll see. On the other hand, on the plus side, it does have a bar, I noticed, and that's pretty good. So I can have a gin and tonic before dinner if even, or before lunch. I can have gin and tonic all day. That would be really putting the medication through its paces. I might try that. And also I'm going to have to find some way of getting the medicinal marijuana through, because I don't think a helper is going to be willing to hold my spliff as I gently drift off into warm land every night. So I might have to have it in chocolate, which would be good. So there was that. Also, Jennifer and Greg came and visited from the States, and that was fantastic. Jennifer bringing you up to speed with, like music and books, and because of her I'm going to reevaluate my opinion of Nicolas Cage. I must have been wrong. I did see him in Adaptation again, and he is very good in that, and I'll try out with some of his early stuff, which means I might finally be able to watch Raising Arizona, because I love the Coen Brothers, but I could never watch it because Nicholas was in it. So that could be over that, and spending time with Greg is great. I first met him during the recording of a TV show we did called Who Gives a Shit Anyway, and he was on that, and he's fast, he's funny, and the day was great. It was just champagne, vodka, red wine, medicinal marijuana. It was fantastic. And Greg and I talked in the evening, various bits of rock and pop trivia and trashy movies and that. And when they'd gone, and that night as I was sleeping, and I woke up in the middle of the night because I got a bad spasm in my leg. It happens sometimes, but there was still the scent, the light scent of nature's green gift wafted through the house, and I instantly thought of Greg, and one word came to mind. That word was Sega. And the rest of the month has been all about David Bowie and The Next Day, which I've been playing obsessively. In fact, I only managed to stop playing it just before I started recording this, so let's go to skip on to the end, shall we? And I've always loved Bowie. He's just the genius, because in the early days, I've always maintained that on Hunky Dory, in Changes, his voice goes a little bit Norman Wisdom. If you listen, the lyric goes, still don't know what I was waiting for, and my time was running wild, a million dead-end streets, and every time I thought I'd got it made, it seemed the taste was not so sweet. It goes all Norman Wisdom. Trust me, listen to it again. Any colonials watching who don't know who Norman Wisdom was, he was a former Archbishop of Canterbury. But on this new album, he's changed his voice again. And my favourite song, I'd Rather Be High, my favourite lyric in it goes like this, and he's changed his voice into something else. He goes, I stumbled to the graveyard and I lay down by my parents, whispered, just remember, duckies, everybody gets got. Exterminate.